Hi everyone, this is Mahesh Kaamath here, founder of MAK Trading School. We have been trading supply and demand trading strategy for more than a decade now. So this strategy revolves around identifying four price formations, namely drop base rally and rally base rally for a demand zone, drop base drop and rally base drop for a supply zone. However, identifying these formations manually on so many stocks or instruments gets challenging at times. So that's the reason we had come up with an automated indicator which would plot these zones on TradingView charts. We have now upgraded the version of this indicator, so there are a lot of new features. So this video is a tutorial on how to use this indicator effectively and also the upgraded features of this indicator. The chart that you see on my screen is for Adani Enterprises, and this is a free version of TradingView. So this indicator would even work on a free version of TradingView, so which is called the basic plan. However, limitations of basic plan would apply in terms of number of charts that you can open, number of alerts and stuff like that. But indicator would still plot the zone even on a basic version. Where do you find this indicator? It is not available in the public library. This is an invite only script. So once you subscribe to the same from our website, we would enable the subscription and you will receive a notification here. To the right hand side, there's a bell icon. So under which you can see I have been granted access to the supply and demand zone indicator. So once you have got access, this would be visible under invite only scripts. So click on indicators, and from there you will have a tab which says invite only scripts. So currently I have only one invite only script. You may have multiple. So choose this indicator, supply and demand zone indicator, MAK Trading School, and from here you can apply it to the chart. So this indicator is already applied to this chart. So that's why you see it here the second time. So now I will move to the premium version so that I don't get disturbed by these notifications and stuff that comes in. So on the premium version, I will explain to you about the features of this indicator. So this is my account which says MAK Trading School. I have already applied the indicator on this chart. If you see the indicator on the left hand side says supply and demand zone indicator MAK Trading School, there is a gear icon. Left click, it opens the settings window. So let's go through the settings one by one. First is about the display table. The table that you see on the right hand side, which is currently displaying the values of the nearest supply level and the nearest demand zone, proximal and distal lines of supply and demand. If I do not want this display table, I just uncheck the box and apply OK. You will see now the table is not visible anymore. So better to keep it switched on. By default, the table would be switched on. And the position of this table. Firstly is the size. You can have different sizes. I keep it to normal. And position also, you have multiple choices. By default, it is set to the top right hand corner of the chart. That's what I prefer. You can change, try whichever suits you. Now coming to the zone text color. So if you see over here in the zone, it is mentioned RBR and brackets D. So that is the zone text. It tells this is a rally based rally from the daily chart. You can change the color to your preference. Let me make it blue and apply OK. So you see all this text changes to blue. So you have the choice to customize it as per your requirements. I would prefer to keep it to black. Next option you have is show only fresh zones and display violated zones. So if you see here, price came back to this demand zone, the daily demand zone, which is identified by the indicator, and you had a nice reaction from that demand. But now this demand zone is tested. So if you want to rely only on fresh levels, just check this box. And now this zone, which is already tested, will not be displayed anymore. So by default, it would be unchecked. Display violated zones is a feature which will help you in back testing. So this will show you zones which were plotted in the past, and when they are violated, they are removed from the chart. However, when you enable this, those zones get visible. So like you see here, the drop based drop on a daily chart is violated. That's why the zone is not plotted anymore. So this can help you in your back testing. Now the demand zone and supply zone color. So from here you can choose the color of supply and demand zones. Since I'm using a chart with a white background, I prefer to keep it green and red. If you are using a different colored background, you may want to customize the colors. So by default, it is set to green for demand, red for supply. By clicking on the color icon here, the color palette would open and you can change the color as per your requirement. After that, you have the alert parameters. I'll come back to this a little later. Below that, there is an option that says basis for supply zone violation or a basis for a demand zone violation. By default, it is set at high and low. So that means it's on trigger basis. The moment price would go below the distal line of a demand zone, the zone would be removed from the chart. The moment price would go above the supply zone distal line, that zone will be deleted. But at times, what happens? You just have a wick out of the zone and the price then reverses. So if you choose violation on closing basis, you have a choice to do that. In this case, what the indicator would do, it will look for violation on closing basis. Only if there is a candle close beyond distal lines, then it will delete the zones. I prefer to keep it on high and low basis. Then you have certain zone parameters which can be customized. First is the explosiveness. So when we say explosiveness, we are talking about how explosive the leg out candle is. So on time frames which are end of day, daily, weekly, monthly, so there you can keep this factor a little lower. And very small time frames like your 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, on those time frames you can set the explosiveness factor slightly higher. Since on very small time frames, I would like to be very picky about the levels. So the explosiveness factor that generally I like to follow is 75-minute zone and above. So 75, 125 daily. On that, I would keep the explosiveness setting to 1.2. However, if I go down to a 15-minute chart, I would want to change this from 1.2 to 1.5. So I want more explosive levels on smaller time frames. So once I do that, if the level does not fall into that criteria, if you see the demand zone was not meeting that criteria, it's not plotting it anymore. So you can try different settings. Recommended ones are 1.2 for 75 minutes and above. Anything below 75 minutes, recommended 1.5. Next is the max number of basing candles. So less the number of basing candles, the zone quality is better. So if you're a trader who wants a zone only with three basing candles, change it to three. Then it will mark zones only where there are three basing candles. So let's go back to the daily chart. So both the zones are qualifying. It has two basing candles, the demand zone. Supply zone has just got one basing candle. However, the lower demand zone had more than three basing candles, so that is not plotted. So I'll just change it back to the default number of 6, and that's what I like to keep it at 6. So you see this, the lower zone which has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 basing candles also is plotted. So that's again your choice as a user. How do you want to keep the settings for max number of basing candles? So these are some of the settings which you can customize. Now coming to alerts. So with this indicator, now you have the feature of setting alerts. And what alerts can you set? Basis of these parameters that you have input in the indicator, it will notify you whenever a new zone is formed, whenever a zone is violated, or whenever price enters a zone. You can check, uncheck whichever alert you want. So at the moment, let's keep all checked. And how do we set these alerts? So here you see on the top there is an icon that resembles a watch, a clock. Create alert. Let's click on that. In the condition, there is a drop down option. From there, I will select the indicator. I would keep it as an open ended alert. You can set a time if you want. So, whenever that condition is met, you will be notified. And what are the notification options? You can get notified on the mobile application of TradingView. There can be a pop up on the window, send email. The way I like it is through a webhook URL. I send this to a Telegram channel. This is how you can create the alert. However, the limitation over here is this indicator is a single time frame indicator. So whichever time frame you have applied the indicator to, it will set alerts for that particular time frame. So currently we are on a daily chart. So we are setting alerts for Adani Enterprises daily time frame. Whenever these three conditions are met, we would get an alert. But if you are tracking multiple time frames, assuming you track about 8 time frames, starting from 10 minutes all the way up to daily, weekly. So if you are tracking 8 time frames, it would consume 8 alerts for one stock. And depending on your subscription with TradingView, you would have your limitations of alerts. The highest version is the premium subscription, which has got 400 server side alerts. So even if you have 400 alerts, that means you can track only 50 instruments. Assuming you're setting 8 alerts for one instrument, you can track only 50. So that becomes a limitation here. So to overcome that, we are sending these alerts onto a Telegram channel. So the moment you subscribe for this indicator and alert services, you are added to a Telegram channel wherein you get the alerts on a real time basis. So there is no separate subscription charge for the Telegram alerts. We are providing it complimentary. So I'll just share with you the alerts how they would look like. So if you see, this is the Telegram desktop version that I am on. The channel is called MAKTS NSCFNO alerts. So here you're getting alerts as and when the zones are forming. Ramco Cement, 15 minutes, there's an RBR demand zone. What is the distal line, proximal line value, and stuff like that. So these alerts keep coming starting from morning 9:15 till 3:30 in the afternoon. So if you're a trader, you can who's active during the day, you can track this on real time basis, or else at the end of the day there is a log file which is shared. So it says NSE FNO alerts for 2nd of Jan. So whatever were the alerts for 2nd of Jan, you'll get it in an Excel format. So let me just download that Excel format. So this is the entire log for the day. Let me just zoom into it. So from here there are filters. Assuming you are a trader who is doing only swing trading, then you do not want to monitor all time frames. You will choose only 75, 125 and daily time frame. So here you have a list of only 75, 125 and daily. So that's how you can use the filter option. You can filter by which zone you want, whether you want supply zones, whether you want demand zones. All that options are there. Currently we are monitoring 15, 25, 75, 125 and daily time frames. However, we would be adding to this very soon. We would be even sending alerts on weekly and monthly time frames. So this is how you can use the indicator and alert function. Alert function is a very handy function wherein instead of now going through entire list of stocks, you know there are zone formations in certain stocks. So you focus only on those particular stocks, do your analysis. So blindly, I do not recommend trading any zone just because you got an alert. Idea should be it's a starting point. Now you know, okay, on Adani Enterprises, there is a supply level. There I need to do my analysis. Where is the zone located? What is the trend condition and stuff like that? and then arrive at whether this zone is tradable or not. So this is how we can effectively use the new version of the automated indicator and alerts. So I hope you find this tutorial handy. And if you haven't subscribed, you can visit our website www.maktradingschool.com and explore the various subscription plans and subscribe to the indicator and alerts. So happy trading and thank you, friends.